So, Mike, have you got all your client devices in Intune now?
Oh yes, Jonathan. Every single one. 40 tenants. All enrolled. And guess what? All the devices, they're all compliant. I've got green ticks everywhere.
Mike, that's brilliant. Tell me, how many compliance policies did you configure in the end?
Well, Intune handles that automatically. Doesn't it?
Does it?
Jonathan, all my devices are showing as compliant. So, the policies must be working.
Mike, please tell me you've configured compliance policies for your clients.
Green ticks, Jonathan.
Oh, Mike, you didn't know, did you? There's a setting in Intune, and it says if a device has no compliance policy, mark it as compliant. You've got to switch that off.
What? That's actually a setting?
Yeah, that's a setting.
So, let me get this straight. All my devices are shown as compliant because nobody ever assigned a compliance policy. And Intune decided that they were fine.
Exactly, Mike.
Yeah, but they're still green though.
Okay, so that policy we just talked about, let's fix it. In Microsoft Intune, in compliance settings, there's an option called Mark Devices with no compliance policy assigned as, and out of the box, on every new Intune tenant, it's set to compliant, which means every enrolled device with no compliance policy assigned gets a free pass, marked compliant automatically. No requirements, no checks, just a green tick. And if you have a conditional access policy that is set to require a compliant device to access Microsoft 365, and you should do, this setting means that conditional access is checking a box that Intune ticked by itself. So you've got the appearance of security, but none of the substance. So step one is simple. Let's change it. The first thing we do is head over to Microsoft Intune. And then we go to Devices, and we head down to Compliance. Then we go to our Compliance Settings. And you can see here, look, mark devices with no compliance policy as compliant. Turn that off. That's it, one setting. So every device without a compliance policy is now correctly flagged as non-compliant. Let's get that saved.
Right, okay, so now what? All my clients' devices are going to now show as non-compliant.
Well, every device with no compliance policy assigned, yes.
Okay, right. Well, do I need to create a compliance policy?
Good question, Mike. Shall we build a policy? Now, just a quick break from the content. If today's video made you realize that there are gaps in how your Microsoft 365 environment is set up, things like conditional access policies, compliance policies, Intune, Entra, well, I've got a course that covers all of it. I've made 139 videos, and it's built for IT admins and MSPs who want to go from a patchy configuration to a properly secured Microsoft 365 environment. Everything is in there, and the link is in the description. Now, back to the content. So, a compliance policy is a set of rules that Intune uses to evaluate whether a device meets your security standard. The device either passes or it doesn't. The key things that you want to be requiring as a minimum are things like encryption, a supported OS version, antivirus reporting as healthy, and a firewall enabled. That kind of thing is the baseline. So let's have a look how to do it. Okay, still in Intune. Devices, compliance. This brings us here, and in this tenant at the moment, there's no compliance policies. But I'm going to create a policy. The platform is going to be Windows 10 and later, and the profile type is going to be 10.11 compliance policy. Click on Create. First of all, give this a name, something like this. Click on Next. And now it's time to choose our security settings. What is the minimum security settings we want on the Windows devices in our business? I'll give you a few examples. First of all, I want all the devices to require BitLocker. Okay? Minimize that. Also, we can look at minimum OS versions. So I can say every Windows device in my business must be running a minimum version of Windows. That is good security. And what about here? System security. I want all devices to have a firewall, TPM, antivirus, anti-spyware. That is a minimum. We want all devices to have Defender anti-malware, up-to-date, and real-time protection. Once I'm happy, I can click on Next. And then we go on to non-compliance. So what do I want to happen if one of the devices in my business doesn't have the minimum security settings? That's simple. I'm going to say I want the device to be marked as compliant after half a day. There's other options I can choose as well. So I can send emails, I can retire devices. But I'm just going to leave it as that. Click on Next. And I will assign that to all devices. Click on Next. And I've now created my compliance policy.
Jonathan, I've just looked in Intune. All my devices are now showing red. Non-compliant. Jonathan, what have we done?
Mike, we've told Intune the truth.
Right, okay, but come to think of it, Jonathan, nothing's actually broken. People can still access their email. They can still access SharePoint. All that's happening is I've now got red ticks in Intune.
Yes, Mike, because a compliance policy on its own is just a label.
Oh, what?
Well, it tells you the device is non-compliant. It doesn't stop the device from doing anything. Look, Mike, for compliance to actually mean something, for it to protect your tenant, you need a conditional access policy that kind of enforces it.
Right, so now I've got 40 clients showing as non-compliant, and it means nothing because you're telling me there's not a conditional access policy governing it.
Yeah, Mike, correct.
Oh, Jonathan, please, let's fix this quickly.
This is the bit that ties everything together. Conditional access is what takes your compliance policy from being a report, which is just a label in Intune, and turns it into an enforcement mechanism. Conditional access basically says if that device isn't compliant, it won't get access to Microsoft 365. Full stop. Without this, you can have the most thorough compliance policy in the whole wide world, and it changes absolutely nothing about who can access your Microsoft 365 environment. The two of them have to work together, a bit like peas and carrots. Compliance policy defines the standard, and conditional access enforces it. One without the other is half a solution. So this time, I'm heading out of Intune, and I'm going to go into the Entra Admin Center. Then head down to Conditional Access. Policies, and I'm going to create a new policy. I'm going to give this a name. Require compliant device. I will assign that to all users. It's always best to exclude a break glass account, all cloud apps, or all resources, what it's now called. Conditions, device platforms. With this video, I am targeting Windows devices. Click on Done. Go down to the access controls here. We will grant access to Microsoft 365 resources, but we require the device to be marked as compliant. Click on Select, turn that policy on. Now the compliance policy has teeth. Non-compliant devices will be blocked from accessing Microsoft 365. The non-compliant label now means something.
Jonathan, my users are getting blocked now. They can't access Microsoft 365
Yeah, Mike, correct.
because the devices are non-compliant and we've got a conditional access policy.
Yes, Mike, that's because the devices are genuinely non-compliant. There's no encryption on some of them. You've got OS versions that are out of date. And now you know. Mike, put that conditional access policy into report only, okay? And get to work and fix your environment.
Remember that dashboard when I started? Green ticks everywhere.
Yeah, it meant nothing.
And now, the red dashboard
Well, it means everything. Your dashboard is now telling you the truth. Mike, you're not a flamingo.
Do you know something, Jonathan? I preferred the green one.
So, 3 things to take away from today. Number 1, check that default compliance setting in your tenant. 2, if you don't have any compliance policies assigned to your devices, build them and assign them. And 3, make sure that you've got a conditional access policy that is enforcing it. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Look forward to seeing you again soon.